All right, so if you're in mid game and you're still feeling like progress is slow, even after you're done fixing your build, and there's usually a few common mistakes causing that. So in this video, I'm going to go through the ones that I see, and we're going to avoid them and move forward faster. So the thing that I think that you're doing is we're getting past the early game. We're making our way to Sigma Sector, Axiom Plains, and it still feels slow. It feels like there's this there's this boulder in front of us that we're trying to push forward, but we're kind of making this really, really slow progress. The missions are dragging, upgrading, but not progressing. All these feelings in the First Descendant. And I'm not saying the First Descendant is a deep game in any way. It is a grindy looter shooter that you're going to have to do repetitive activities on. And that's not your fault. That's the game developer's fault for doing that. But to get you to a better state in the game, what we're going to do is we're going to avoid mistake number one, and we're going to stop randomly upgrading. We're going to stop just trying to figure out the build. Someone's already done that. It's almost like making biscuits from scratch. Pillsbury already done it. Just go ahead and pop open the can. Now you may say, well, there's nothing like homemade biscuits, but in order to get to that point, you're gonna have to learn how to do some things from scratch. But you don't know what the end product is gonna look like if you don't have an example of it to look at. You know what I mean? So you got no long-term focus. You got no you don't know what the end looks like, so you can't build the beginning and the end. So if you were like ever building a Warframe character, or if you ever building a Destiny character, or even if you were building a Magic the Gathering deck, you may see a bunch of good ideas. You may be putting a lot of good things together, but eventually you're going to be using it, and somewhere it's going to falter because you don't know what the beginning and the middle looked like. You're spreading your resources too thin. You're trying to get to point D when you haven't done A, B, and C. You're not you're not you're not going as fast as you should. You're trying to go faster than you can. So we are trying to sprint before we walk. I want these things to sink in because this is the building blocks to every single looter shooter of how that goes. Someone out there is putting enough time and effort for you to see a sample of something that you may have wanted in order to get to the point to where you want to be, right? And that's how success is built. You see someone successful and then you imitate what they do and then you make it your own. So we're going to try to not perfect our build too soon because we don't know what the perfect build looks like for us. In this Viessa example, I've always used the Polar Knight set. For the longest time, the Polar Knight set is not the optimal way to go about using her, but I do think this all should have culminated with her, so I stuck with it, I thugged it out, and that's what I got. When it comes to the reactors, critical hit damage and critical hit rate could be the way to go, but for some descendants that just doesn't work out. We're chasing stats, like trying to get all these gold stats, trying to get all these maxed out. We're chasing stats and we're ignoring the way that the game is supposed to be played with our character consistently. For Viessa, we are going to be doing ability spam. We're going to be utilizing our 1, utilizing our 2, sometimes utilizing our 3 in order so we can get to utilizing our 4 as much as possible using cooldown reductions and resource cost reductions. We're also going to be equipping the appropriate dog, and we're not going to forget the inversion reinforcement. So you don't need perfect stats yet. What you need is to be able to know how to play your character in order to play the game. So when we talk about poor resource use, we're burning through all of our gold. We're trying to we're trying to max our transcendent modules out. We're re-rolling this too many times. It doesn't seem like we're getting enough bang for our buck when we end up playing the game. Now, for some of us who's played the game for about 1,600 hours, over 800 hours, we have a lot of these abundant resources. But if you're just getting into the game anywhere between 300 hours or less, you're not going to have those types of optimization tools. You're going to be in that hamster wheel with the beginning crowd. You're going to be trying to get your money up. So we have bad farming habits. We're avoiding We're avoiding doing the void vessels. We're not doing enough of the normal ones to knock them out. We're not getting up to the challenge mode, and we're not knocking out the appropriate colossi in order to get the external components that we need. Mid game is not about efficiency, it's about not grinding harder because we know what we want when we get it. So, in order to get the polar ice set, I know that I need to fight Dead Bride, even though she's kind of a wash. We need to just get we need to get what we need to get and not waste time doing all this other stuff. We don't need to focus on the avoid abyss battles if you're not there. So we need to focus on the right upgrades. We need to focus on keeping our build simple, copy a YouTuber and then make it yours, right? Imitation is the greatest form of flattery. Improve your efficiency. Improve your efficiency with your grinding and your resource usage, because even that I do have over 1,600 hours in the game, but I don't have the abundance of the gold and the Kuiper and all that. I don't play the game enough to have all those abundance of resources running at hamster wheel all the time. We need to avoid rushing the systems, trying to get these maxed out, get these cores maxed out and all that. If you don't have it, you need to stop trying to skip to it, because you're just going to let yourself down in the end without getting your character to level 40, which isn't really like, it's over 40, but it's not really level 40 because you had to reset so many times. You're like really like above that. We need to keep it short and practical. That's kind of the gist of it. Now, hopefully you found some sort of sight line in this whole get down. So we're trying to upgrade smarter. We're not trying to overbuild, and we're not trying to play ineffectively. We're trying to play very effectively, like very efficiently, effectively, efficiently. That's what we're trying to do. And if you avoid these mistakes, mid game feels a lot smoother. In the next video, I'll go over the farming routes that actually make this stage easier. Like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.